Hi, I'm Linda Ty, and our A2YO podcast team is honored to share a very special podcast with Dennis Franks, former Philadelphia Eagles special teams captain, executive vice president of Market America, a true American success story, speaker, author, musician, and my friend, and a good friend to the Act 2 You're On podcast community. Dennis passed away on October 16th, an incredibly beloved family man and business savant. Dennis was a larger-than-life character. He was thoughtful, intelligent, hardworking, optimistic, and so much fun. Please consider donating to the Dennis Franks Memorial Scholarship Fund to further his legacy of positivity, empowerment, and gratitude that will live on through the recipients of this gift. I will miss Dennis's guidance and his generous spirit in my life. On behalf of the Act 2 You're On community, we send out love to his family and friends as we celebrate this good man, Dennis Franks. Rest in peace and power, my friend.
Greetings, friends, and welcome to A2YO, Act 2, You're On. I am Linda Ty, and I have the great pleasure of podcasting with my dynamic A2YO co-hosts, Rhonda Garvin-Conaway.
And I'm Kate Levy, and we are also joined by our talented producers, Susan Savvy-Nagel and Kathy Courageous Carswell.
Awesome. So today in the A2YO studio, we have a leader and a true change maker, Dennis Franks. So let me give you, I'm really excited. I'm just going to say Dennis Franks is a friend of mine. I've known him for a long time. I'm very fortunate to be able to know him and learn from him. He's just an incredible guy. Dennis Franks is a native of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a high school honor roll student and graduate of Bethel Park High School. Dennis was inducted into his high school Hall of Fame. Dennis was awarded an athletic scholarship to the University of Michigan, where he studied economics. Dennis started 3 years as an offensive center and was awarded all Big Ten honors 2 years and second team All-American honors his senior year. Dennis played for the Philadelphia Eagles and Detroit Lions for 5 years. He captained the specials team and was named Most Valuable Player that season. Dennis finished his NFL career with the Detroit Lions, where he helped build the Lions to playoff contender. For 40 years, Dennis has been an active participant in the direct sales and network marketing industry, where he has proven himself as an exceptional builder and field leader. He's one of the few to earn over $1 million in commissions during a 12-month period and continues to break new records in supporting fellow business partners to earn meaningful supplemental income. His success has continued to help thousands achieve their goals. Dennis was invited to join the corporate team for Market America Incorporated in 1993. His unusual talent to work internationally and externally in the network marketing industry makes him a real and valuable asset to Market America's corporate team. J.R. Ridinger, president of Market America, often refers to Dennis as his 5-star general. Dennis Franks is married and resides in Greensboro, North Carolina, with his charming wife, Nancy. They have 2 beautiful daughters, Lauren and Katie. Both are married. Dennis and Nancy have 3 grandchildren, Izzy, who's 6, William, 2, and Cruz, who's 2. And they're very cute. I've seen them on Facebook. Dennis has been credited for valuable contribution in crafting the original Mall Without Walls, the preferred customer program, the Market America University concept, TLS weight loss solution, and Nutrimetrics health professional divisions. Really, Dennis, you are the most valuable player for Market America. 5-star general. So anyway, welcome, Dennis. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you. It's so good to be with you today. And you know, I sort of get embarrassed, I guess, on introductions like that. I live my life really not reflecting a whole lot, but moving forward on a daily basis. But it's great to be here with you. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, that is definitely one thing that I do know about you. One thing about Dennis, first of all, I want to say that most of you viewers and listeners know Dennis. You know Dennis. You may not know that you know Dennis, but you know Dennis because he's portrayed in the movie Invincible, and he's the guy. He's the guy, this is the famous line, he talks about the white knuckles, and he's really stern with, Vince Papali, and he gives him the talk, and the tough talk. And so this is Dennis, the real Dennis, which is just very exciting to have you here. And so I just really have always been a big admirer of yours. You accomplish more than maybe 5 or 6 other people. Like Dennis has reached the height of heights in everything that he's done. And in addition to all these things, which is not mentioned here in this bio, is Dennis also has a band. He writes music, he sings, he plays guitar. So Amazing. So, but tell us a little bit about your journey, Dennis, because we're really interested here at A2YO about reinvention, making those transitions in life, and you are the master.
Well, thanks, Linda. It all begins with values, and I was very fortunate with my parents, my father being Italian and my mother being a mix of German and Chinese. And so we were highly family oriented and also highly disciplined. And, I grew up in row homes in a small community outside of Pittsburgh. And life really didn't begin till I left that community to really realize it was out there. But I think it all begins with those values. And a lot of people may or may not have had those growing up. And one of the big things that I teach is how do we get those values if we miss them on our way up? Because I believe people can create cultures for themselves. Other things I have just failed miserably throughout my life. And it doesn't depress me, it makes me mad. And quite frankly, when I get mad, I'm going to find a solution because you will not keep me down. When I played professional sports, I was the smallest NFL center. And being the smallest center in the entire NFL league, I had to prove myself daily. And it just, whatever it takes is my philosophy. But there's also things that I really started to appreciate growing up. For some reason, growing up, I really understood people that had talent and what they did to bring the talent out. I mean, singing, I mean, ice skating, I mean, anything that they excelled in, music. I just appreciated that because I realized how much work it takes to become a master at anything. And so it's not unusual for me to sit back and just be in awe of people. And it's really helped me discover my why. And, that's led me to committing my life to improving one's potential because man's greatest waste is that of his own human potential. And so I'm going to dig in for people that want to bring that out and help them make that happen.
And the road to success is not always an easy and smooth one. And it's good for listeners to know that, because I think you could look at your bio and think, this guy, he just had it easy, or he had all the right stuff that just lined up and made it an easy road. And I wonder if you can talk to us a little bit about that road.
Yes, it goes at every level, going from at the University of Michigan, I was recruited as a high school All-American in regards to being a linebacker. And I don't know if you know what position that is. That's where you get to stand up and chase the guy with the ball and try to hurt him and take the ball away and put him on the ground. My sophomore year, Coach Schembeckler decided that he was going to make me an offensive center. I was a nice size for a linebacker, but I was not big for an offensive lineman. And I went from a future starter to a fifth-team offensive center. So I was set back, and I had to convince myself or get myself off the ledge and say, okay, all right, so I'm going to be in my sophomore year and I'm going to play a new position I never played in my life. And so what did I do? Well, I had to understand what an offensive center did, because you have to understand where a linebacker is free to move and have his hands, you're hiking the ball and you've got a man's hands under your rear end to get that ball, or you're snapping it back to the quarterback while you're blocking someone. And, it was a tough change. So that was very tough for me to evolve. But by the end of my sophomore year, I was starting, which was great. From there, I was supposed to go in the draft. And when the draft came, teams would call me up and said, we're going to take you. We're going to take you. Well, nobody took me in the NFL draft. And so there I was at the end of the draft, not getting called and deciding on whether or not I'm going to play in the NFL. So I got mad and I got invited. And so I picked between the Minnesota Vikings and the Philadelphia Eagles. And I was able to make the Philadelphia Eagles. And it's quite interesting how I chose the Philadelphia Eagles. I went through the entire NFL looking at the center position, not at the starting one, but the backup. And then I measured talent and went to the team that I felt I could beat that person out. Because it's really hard to come right out of college and become a starter. But my biggest transition was leaving the NFL and wanting to count on my degree and get a job. I didn't get cut out of the NFL. I chose to leave going into my 6th season. And I just didn't love the sport anymore. And I can't do what I don't love. You know, I live off of passion, quite frankly. And so I felt I could use my degree, get a job. And the bottom line was I couldn't find a job that would pay me more than $25,000 annually. And I'm coming from a 6-figure income playing in professional sports, and that was tough. And quite frankly, I went the wrong way, ended up having a cocaine addiction, drug addiction. It was really hard. I had a near-death experience that helped break me of that habit. Ended up marrying the girl that walked me all night after a 36-hour binge. She says, come on, I'm going to take you right out of this. Thank God for Nancy. 40 years, she's still with me. And, she changed my life. And from there, once I got my head out of my ass, I just moved forward. And I didn't know how to move forward, Rhonda. I didn't know how to do this because I never had to rediscover myself. And somebody had said to me, why don't you start with yourself? Because I was almost 300 pounds. I was 298 pounds. I'm only 6'1" and a half. The half inch is very important to people, that think they're short. So anyway, I lost 68 pounds total. And today I'm 230 pounds of my high school weight when I left. And I've been here at this weight for over 25 years. And I realized what good health means and vitality means to living life to the fullest. So that's another reason I moved into the direct selling industry and helping people, in performance and in weight loss, but also lifestyle. So lots of things are crazy. I went into network marketing, made $1 million a year plus, and the company went out of business. So now you have it, now you don't kind of thing. And once again at the bottom. And that was really interesting. Linda, working with you in the past, realizing if you have success and all of a sudden it's taken away, you think, were you lucky or were you good? Okay, that was the big thing. And I went back into a second network marketing company. And what I knew, I went into skincare. And you should have seen this, ladies. Can you imagine me doing facials? And I was doing facials. These poor women were had the fear of God in them as I came to work on their face, don't break my face kind of look. And so I ended up leaving that and went back into the diet industry. And then finally, I cashed in and opened up franchising. And so I basically started with a single franchise. They were called mailboxes, et cetera, UPS stores, what you know today, and ended up with several. I became a master franchise owner in Southern New Jersey. But then I met this guy, J.R. Ridinger, that really changed my life. After telling him no several times, I finally paid attention, and he changed my life. And it's been 30 years with him. And it wasn't an easy go. But I have to tell you, with all those ups and downs, I sure learned a lot along the way. But you got to keep brushing yourself off and getting back up and refuse to stay down. That was my biggest thing.
Yeah, absolutely. For those who have heard about the network marketing industry and may not really understand about the network marketing industry, it's an incredible platform. For doing what you love, your why is helping people, pulling out of them what is their best to be the best version of themselves, to level up into a place that, maybe they didn't believe they could be. And, without you, I'm not sure the company would be where it's at, to be honest. They're all amazing, but you were really the glow. People would just gravitate to you and gravitate to your energy and to your ability to speak to people's hearts and help them believe they can do whatever they want to do. And so it was a transformational experience for me being part of Market America. It's definitely changed my life. It's changed my outlook. It teaches you about most people will get a job and that's like good. But what network marketing teaches you is about how business owners expand and being in what we call a B quadrant, which is a whole other conversation, but it's a really, once you have that education, once you've learned that thinking, you can't leave without being changed forever.
No, you hit a big word. You said belief. And, I said earlier about passion. And the number one product that we started a company virtually with nothing was belief and a vision. And so I'm a big teacher of belief and a big teacher of vision. And, as a professional network marketer, I'm very proud of it. I am a professional salesperson. I'm an educator. I don't sell anything I don't believe in. And, being with a company for 30 years and traveling the world, I've contributed to over 500 people who earned in excess of $1 million in commissions. It's just an amazing thing. Billions of dollars that have been paid out to individuals like you and I. This has been rewarding for me. And I recommend it. It's probably one of the best learning mechanisms anyone transforming from home to business to start out with, because it's affordable and it's all about sweat equity and belief and your learning curve.
Absolutely. Can you tell about, I love the story of when you first met J.R. Reininger and you sat down with him with his yellow pad. And this is really amazing that you were doing what you were doing and you said, I'm going to go in this direction.
Right. Well, JR got my name from a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend who got it from Vince Papale, who was Mark Wahlberg in the movie Invincible. And it was really funny because he was looking for people with network marketing experience. And I had 10 years of multi-level marketing experience when I met JR. And I said no to him, 4 times via the phone, but he kept calling till finally I said, okay, I'll meet with you and maybe you'll be able to read my lips when I say no. And so I met him in Ocean City, New Jersey. We sat down and he was there with a yellow pad. Okay. And when he started to talk about what he had created, this is before it was even launched. It was just getting ready to launch. He was basically talking to himself to this yellow tablet. It wasn't like trying to look at me and say, do you see, you see, you see? He was just so into it that it was like, let me see what you're doing there. And it was really funny because when he was finished, I understood, because I was from the multi-level marketing industry, how he was going to change an industry. We don't consider ourselves really part of the multi-level marketing industry, but a hybrid between direct sales and traditional retail, but also as an internet retailer. In fact, now we're more a dropship company for people that want to get engaged with selling on the internet. And we teach you how to market right from home. So there's no inventories really that you have to carry or anything like that. But it's really funny. I said, JR, I'm going to talk to the boss. I'll talk to my wife, see what she thinks. I said, give me some information. So he rips off the piece of paper and he says, here it is. And I said, are you kidding me? Wait a minute. What products have you been selling? And he reaches in his pocket and he pulls out a piece of jewelry with lint on it. It wasn't even in a box. And I said, hey, JR, how much have you sold? And he says, well, we haven't stopped the count. That was his answer. And then I said, are you financially stable enough to grow? Should you be able to grow this business? Oh, we have enough money. So he was answering every question wrong until finally I said, JR, you don't have a lot of leadership in place. You don't have the money. You don't have the product. How will this ever get off the ground? And he looked me square in the eye and said, Dennis, this is an idea whose time has come and I will make it work. Okay. That changed everything because I responded discipline. And I responded belief. And I said, okay, I'll get in this wagon and we'll see what we can do. And that was back in the late April of 1992, May, the company opened. I got in the company in May, and I've been here ever since. So I guess we're in our 30th year today, 30 years. And do you know, from starting in a garage, we're $1 billion company today? That's crazy. Who would have ever thought it? You know?
Never thought an idea on a yellow notepad.
Yeah. That's why I say all of your listeners here should really equate or think about nothing's impossible. You know, if you have a belief, you have an idea, and you put it together and have a plan, you can do it.
Yeah.
I love that story. And the other thing that has just resonated for me is I married my high school sweetheart who played center on the high school team and in college. So the discipline needed and the mind game that went on to play that position. I know we always think about the pressure on the quarterback, but man, when you're the center or your loved one is the center and you're watching them do the long snap, it's not an easy moment.
How about this? 2 moments I'll tell you about. I also did the long snapping too. I did field goals and punts. And so imagine this, undefeated, playing Ohio State, who's undefeated, for a shot to play a national championship. It's down to 9 seconds. We are on the 34-yard line, and we have a chance to win and go to the Rose Bowl to play for the national championship. I'm snapping the ball. My hands are sweaty. I know that I have to get that ball back in 2.5 seconds, and I'm 0.5 seconds, and, you know, and have the laces pointed in the right thing. And there's people talking to you across the line. You often wonder what the football players say to each other. They talk about relatives and how they know your mom and all that good stuff. And so before you know it, you snap the ball, the kick is off, and it goes right over the goalpost. It was kicked really high. And if it was at Michigan Stadium, it was good. But being in the Ohio State, it was no good. And then, did you ever get booed by 80,000 people?
No.
I have. I was playing with the Philadelphia Eagles, and we were snapping the ball. We were on our own 4-yard line, and it was my rookie season. I snapped the ball right over the punter's head for a sweep. Oh, you know, the Philly fans, you know, they don't tolerate that, you know. Oh, God. Centers.
And so they're incredible. What the big moments, the memories, what do they all mean to you?
The biggest moments, man, there are so many in my life. One of them is being selected team captain by my peers and playing professional sports. Another one was being able to be a father, and then not understanding how beautiful it is to be a grandfather. You know, to have the little rugrats running around. These two-year-old little boys, I've got all 3 of them here for 6 weeks with me. You know, I'm getting gray, and I think I'll probably get more gray kind of thing. But it's beautiful. But all of these different things, you know, Rhonda, when I think about it, as simple as helping somebody with a product solution, helping somebody change their life financially. I've had so many experiences, and not only doing it here in the United States, but whether it be Malaysia or Australia, whether it be Spain or Colombia, you know, I've had that opportunity. And people are beautiful. I mean, there's your idiots out there, but people are beautiful, and we all want the same thing, you know, but it's really hard for me to take one special moment.
Yeah. But I love that sentiment. People are beautiful. And if we all recognize that amongst one another and within ourselves, what a game changer that would be.
Ooh, yes. It's all about respect.
You're a wonderful person for us to get to talk to, but for our listeners, a person committed to reinvention. I mean, you're fascinating because we could talk to you about sports. We could talk to you about the movie. We could talk to you about marketing, nutrition, etc. And it's all seems to be about your ability to convert that adversity into something that was motivating and that helped you. And I think those are great lessons for all of us to hear and know, that it's not necessarily easy, but there is a way that you can just view life, and whatever it throws out at you, you reinvent and you move on.
Kate, you are so right in that comment. And when I start thinking about what has made the difference for people that have worked through their obstacles, they've embraced them. A champion never loses. They either win or they learn. And that's something that people have to remember. And, just because you don't get your way, like when I'm building vision statements for people, it's a 7-step process. And you know what the last step is? What if it doesn't work? Nobody talks about what if it doesn't work. And I'm going to talk about it because it's a possibility when anybody sets a vision. And a lot of people don't understand, is a vision a dream? Is a vision a goal? Well, a vision is nothing more than a dream that has a laser approach, seeing yourself within that dream. So if you imagine your dream as a flashlight, beam, or your vision is a laser beam where you actually see yourself there. Once you see yourself there, you now are able to feel what it's like to be there. I always tell people, don't start off without knowing your destination. Well, if you can't see yourself within the vision, you don't know your destination. You hope it is. Okay. And, so it's really helped me pulling out these special nuggets for people that they can carry with. And it was basically part of what we created with the Victor's Code, which is something that everyone can live by on their way up. And so all of this stuff is fun to teach with people.
Can you give us a little bit? I know we're going to do a follow-up episode talking about your work with your book that you wrote with Vince Capaldi called The Last Laugh. We're very excited about it, but I know there's so many nuggets in here about that our listeners would want to know about for making those transitions, for setting goals, for creating a vision, and being able to figure out the steps. And that's always the hard part. It's like, oh gosh, I'd like to do this, but I don't really know how, or I don't know, maybe I can't. You live in the doubt first. And so how do you get beyond that, like the notion, you have this idea, or you meet a guy with a yellow pad of paper and he has no products and no plan and no, but he's got a vision. Like how do you go from that unknown to say, all right, let's put it together?
Well, the one tip I'll give it to you right off the top is one of my favorites, and it was a big part of the success that I've had in my life. And it's my philosophy of ready, fire, aim. And so many people just take so much time and thinking the perfect environment will happen moving forward. But this is a way you can accelerate success by incorporating the ready, fire, aim concept or approach. And that is, preparation still has to be made. I'm not saying just go do a wild ass crazy thing out there. I'm saying prepare yourself, but you got to take the shot. So if you've gone through preparation, you can take the shot, because here's what I've learned. I've never been right 100% of the time the first time I did anything. And it always had to be adjusted. So prep yourself, take the shot, and adjust, okay? And take it again. So reload, refire. And that's the concept that got me to try over and over again until it happened. Like for the health professional division for my company today, Market America, Nutrimetrics, we serve nearly 5,000 health professionals with our wellness products. Well, I was thrown out of the first 10 out of 15 offices, because who was I to talk to any health professional? I don't have those degrees. But over time, I learned more. I went back to Penn. I studied biochemistry, so I got mad. I said, okay, I'm going to learn how this works, and nobody's going to throw me out of their office anymore. It's really weird. It's sort of like this whole COVID thing. How did I get through this? Well, I got to tell you something. People said, man, you just didn't miss a beat. No, I was depressed. I was friggin' depressed through this COVID thing. And you know what that depression made me? Mad. And you know what it was? It wasn't going to hold me back. That's just who I am. But you know what? Why aren't people stronger? I don't understand. Maybe you can tell me. Why aren't people stronger? Is it fear? Is it it's belief that they don't have the talent to break loose? Maybe you can tell me. Teach me.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting what you just said about ready, fire, aim. Preparation is absolutely important. But so it just made me think, I think if you ask anyone, they would say they learn best by experience, right? Anybody would say I'm a visual learner, or I learn by experience. When kids go to college, they learn all this information. Like my son has a degree in kinesiology, and now he's working at this place called StretchMed, and he's like, I'm learning more now about the body than I learned in my 4 years of college. He's like, yeah, because you're in the experience. So why don't more of us think ready, fire, aim? Like, let's plan, let's put the idea, let's put it forward, but you're only really going to find out through action.
Mm-hmm.
And it's taking the action that we're afraid of because it's our amygdala and all that stuff, right? But it's the action where you're really going to learn how to tweak and shift and know exactly where the direction is that you need to take, as you said, to you never do everything 100% right the first time. So anyway, that just made me think of that in a different way just now.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, and these are all the things that will help people excel, really. And that's part of coaching them, being with them. I coach so many people. It's funny. I can just observe someone today, and the way you carry yourself, I can pretty much tell a lot about someone. Kate, I'm sorry I jumped in front of something you were going to say.
I was just going to say, I think you are such a role model. The work that you're doing is how we're going to motivate society to kind of know that it is actually okay to take risks, to make mistakes. And that's how you build your character and you tolerate discomfort. And I think that any of these forums where we can kind of offer that to people, because I think for whatever reasons, that does seem, we're afraid of making mistakes. And I think that's one of the greatest lessons. I know for me as an athlete, I didn't excel to your level, but all of the lessons that I learned in leadership and in confidence, I learned from playing sports. And that actually is a way that we can kind of get people building up their confidence, and you learn how to be a team player. You know that mistakes are a part of every sport out there. And it is, I think the world right now needs people to be vulnerable, to tell their stories, because it's just not that inspiring to hear people tell, I just, was born with this gift. It's far more interesting and it's real. You'll hear people say, look at the way I had to reinvent myself over and over and over again. And for you said you got mad and that was motivating. That's how success comes, from a lot of pain, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And I think your message is actually what we need to hear. And I'm very intrigued to read this. I told my kids that I was going to get to talk to you. I have 4 kids. All 4 of them have watched your movie over and over. This is just the truth, and I could get a kid to come in and tell you this right now. I don't know why we've just settled into watching Invincible like every Thanksgiving. It's not even a Thanksgiving movie. And we're from Boston, so you think we want to watch something about the Patriots. There's something about that movie that is so compelling. It's great story, great message. I'm sure that we're going to hear the same sort of motivating things here. But you have an important message to share, and we're thrilled to get to hear it and to get to be a part of spreading it. And our listeners really need to know what it takes, the grit that it takes to be successful.
And I just want to, on that note, right? So you talked about, what is it that makes people not be strong enough, or back off, or not move forward? What was the shift for the Eagles? Like, you guys were losing, you're being booed, right? And then suddenly you're at the Super Bowl. So what was the shift that happened? Like, what changed?
2 things. Number one, belief. The players played as individuals and not as a team. I have to tell you, the marketamericashop.com, and by the way, if there's anybody looking to experience entrepreneurism, marketamericashop.com is a great place to explore. But what we find is that teams build champions, okay? It is people taking the responsibility for what they do. And when you put enough people together, great things happen. And this even happens for the Tiger Woods of the world, the John Isners, the tennis players, even though they're performing out there, but there were coaches, there were parents behind them. There were so many people encouraging these people along the way. I think that's number one. So Dick Vermeil at Philadelphia had to get the belief of the players. Number two, he needed to change the character and culture of the team. Since they were all individual playing for themselves, he had to change the character. So opening up for the general public to try out and telling all of the team, saying nobody has a job here. You're going to have to earn it. And when Vince made the movie, when they made the movie about Vince Papale and Invincible, he was the one guy out of thousands that made it. He didn't play college football. He was a track guy. I mean, as I say, you're too pretty to play, Vince, so you're going to get hurt. That made him mad. but anyway, these are the things that had to happen. The character had to be there. He had to build belief. And how he did it was discipline and hard work. Discipline and hard work. And for anybody that's been on a championship team, you tell me that you didn't have discipline and hard work in that formula, and I'll say, what sport was that, or what was that you've created? Because our success at Market America, we've created teams. And again, 80% of our people are women, and the men that have been in here is because the women started making too much money, which attracted the men. It's really a funny thing that's occurred, so I have to say that, but it's an equal opportunity kind of business.
Yeah, I will say, just to play off what you just said, I think that the magic of Market America in choosing that network marketing model, right, the affiliate model, is that champions, you said teams build champions, right? It's hard to be a champion all by yourself, doing everything yourself, right? Quadrant, self-employed, or somebody who's working for somebody else, you're kind of on your own. But when you, what Market America, the network marketing industry promote is team building. And so you build a team, and so you're doing it together. So you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And that's huge. And that's what goes to the sports, right? And some discipline, some consistency, and working together, and huge magic can happen.
It is. I have to tell you three ladies that I'm very impressed. This is a great conversation, and I really appreciate what you're saying. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. We're at the point in our show, and we could probably touch upon 20 of the things you've already said, but we really like to have that laser focus you talked about. Here's the moment. We want to say, if we could give somebody, offer them one golden nugget as they approach their act two, their next great thing, what is it that's made a difference for you that you would want to share with them? What would you like them to focus on that mattered to you?
Wow, that is a loaded question, Rhonda. And I'm going to talk about success. I'm going to talk about wealth and what it is. A lot of people think wealth is money, but wealth is a combination of things. It's community, it's relationship, it's health. Okay. So one of the codes that we have, part of the code, one of the V's in our Victor's code is vitality, which we call it a life force. Anyone who begins the journey of entrepreneurism has to be basically healthy and has to be conditioned to be able to take those ups and downs. If you don't have it all together, the amount of stress one brings on themselves when they start a business or when they embark on a new direction, is tremendous. But what manages stress is the life force, which is the vitality in which we live each and every day. And so I recommend to everyone, if you begin to start the journey, first tip is make sure every journey that you start has a destination before you depart. Okay. Know where you're going. So really take the time for that vision. Number two You have to basically have a life force to be able to continue that journey through the ups and downs. It's a long journey. In my mind, there is no such thing as get rich quick. If that is an anomaly. That's not a reality. And we shouldn't pattern our lives taking that big swing for the home run every time we're up at bat, But if I were to say something, I'll give you the 7 words. 1, you start with a vision. 2, you have valor, the courage to start. 3, you're vehement because you become passionate. 4, you have veracity so that you speak with truth. 5 is vitality. 6 is vigor, which is mental strength. And finally, you have a victory. But the real thing that we found out, what was a victory? That's the big question. And a victory is nothing more than a platform for your next vision. So it's cyclical. So once you start this journey, it's never going to stop.
Thank you for that.
So I know our listeners are really going to be eager to learn more. They can buy The Last Laugh, Vision to Victory. And folks can also find out about Dennis at DennisFranks.com. So DennisFranks.com. You can also find him, of course, on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook.
Oh, and one more thing for you, we'll give you a $5 discount for all of your listens. So instead of the $24.95, it'll be $19.95 special for you.
Oh, that's so nice.
Okay.
Well, Act 2, you're on, friends. We are so fortunate. And not only for Dennis, but for our behind-the-scenes talented duo who make this production possible. We'd like to thank Kathy Carswell and Susan Nagel for giving us the platform to have great conversations like this.
Great conversation.
Absolutely. And so I believe it is left for me to say, go forth, be brave, live well, and do good. Because it's Act 2,
you're on!
Act 2 You're On was brought to you by Act 2 Share Our Stage.
You can find us at a2yo.com and also on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn.
Please listen and subscribe wherever you find your podcasts. You can support us using Patreon. Thanks for listening.